Hello everyone. Okay, I'm going to do a video message here. Lesson today. So I went over your Olympic essays and I saw a few mistakes, and I thought the best way to make it clear is to talk to you about the general, give you a general template so you can follow in future. So that's what we'll do today. I don't know if everybody's going to be here today, a public holiday, so I'll upload this for our class. Okay, let me have a look. Slideshow. Okay, so this will be our next essay question. And it doesn't matter what the question is, this template will apply to everything that we do. It will, okay, anyway, here's the question. Why do you think there was a sudden rise in obesity starting in the early 1990s in America? Okay, that's the question. Why do you think there was a sudden rise in obesity starting in the early 1990s in America? All right, I'll give you my simple explanation. There's many, when you write this, you'll be able to find many ways. When you research, there's many reasons for this. So choose your reasons, at least two for this essay, but I'll give you an example as we go through this one. Okay, so I'm going to break this up into small pieces. Let me drop my image. Okay. So these are your three parts: your introduction, your body, and your conclusion. So the introduction generally will be about 15% of your total essay. The body, the main part, which is 75, and the conclusion about 10%. These parts I want you to include in introduction, body, conclusion. These things I'll go through them one by one in the next few slides. But if you can follow this template, you can always do well with one of these short essays. Okay, let's go to the next one. So there's in the introduction, there's four things I want you to do. So when you do an introduction for this essay, just check off that you've done these four things, and then that way you can know that the essay is perfect for the introduction. Okay, so what it is first, you should start off with a hook. A hook is an introductory sentence that maybe gets the attention of the reader. It can be a statement, like a shocking statement, or just some simple sentence that makes the reader pay attention and maybe want to continue to read. For this case, I would say something shocking like obesity kills. That's a simple two-word sentence. Obesity kills, or obesity is out of control in America. Something like that. Okay. And then you write general information about this topic. So the topic is, of course, the obesity type of epidemic that came in the 1990s. For example, maybe you can find the statistics on this. In 1960, the obesity rate in America, which is the obesity rate, I bet you can describe that too maybe, is a BMI, a body mass index, over 30. And you get your body mass index by a calculation of your weight times your height. You can find that calculation online. But if you have a body mass index over 30, you are considered obese. Normal is anywhere between, I think, 20 and 24. 18 and 24, something. If you're under 18, you are underweight. You should be put more weight on. If you're normal, it's like 18 to 24. If you are overweight, it's 24 to 30. And obese is 30 plus. So 30%, 30 BMI is really fat. Somebody who's really big. And in America, in 1960, there was like 12% of total population were obese, clinically obese. But in the 1990s, that level went from 30 years later, in 1990, it was like 18%. And it went from 18% to about 32% in 10 years. That decade from 1990 to 2000, it jumped almost double. You can check these statistics out, and particularly in America, right? We're talking about the USA. So that general information should be in your background. Of course, it's a shorter essay. You don't have to write too much. Maybe 200 words for your introduction, 200 to 300. And that should include a hook, a background, generally talk about the topic of obesity in America in the 1990s. And then we get the thesis statement. Thesis statement is the main claim of your essay, the main point. You say, like, I'm going to talk to you about two reasons why I think, which is the main points too. So the reasons why Americans, people in the USA, put on so much weight over the decade of the 90s was, number one, because, okay, I'll give you my reasons. Because, one, it was a very good economy, and the second reason was because, I'm going to keep to one and give two main reasons. So my main points are that it was a very good economy and people had money, so they used that money to do two things. They, one, went out to restaurants more, and two, they bought a lot of cars. Okay, that's the two things, I think. So my main points, which will be the 2.2 paragraphs of my essay. One, they became rich and they went out more. And my second point, they bought a lot of cars and they didn't exercise much. Okay, so make sure you have those four things in your introduction. Okay, let's talk about the body. The body of your essay is the main part, and you should have these three things there, which are introductory sentence, which is a topic sentence, tells the reader what is coming. This is for each paragraph. So in this essay, I ask you to do 2 paragraphs. An example, evidence on analysis, and a wrap-up sentence to finish off your paragraph. Okay, in my paragraph, my introductory sentence, something like, in America, in the 1990s, Bill Clinton was the president, and he presided over one of the best economies America had ever seen. Okay, so in my example evidence, I talk about how American economy grew in the 1990s, how people became more rich, what the salaries increased, people got more money, and then the reason they had more money, what they did with their money, they started to go out more. So usually Americans prior to the 1990s would go out maybe once a week, twice a week maximum. But during the 1990s, a type of bubble that they had, and people were very rich, and businesses, restaurants opened all over America, and people started to go out more. And as you know, I would describe in America that when you go to a restaurant, it's different than Japan. The food is really high calorie, so they eat a lot. The restaurant, the plates are big, the portion sizes are very big. So I could just talk about a little bit about how many calories. If you go out 3 or 4 times a week, you're obviously going to eat a lot of unhealthy food, which is high in calories, and that's going to make you fat. Okay, so that's what happened in the 90s. And my second paragraph would be, I would say, in the 1990s, people had discretionary income and a lot of money, and they bought a lot of houses were sold, and also a lot of cars. There was a boom in car sales. So Americans began to drive to work and drive everywhere and not use public transport as much and not walk as much. So there was many, and my example evidence, maybe I could find some information about how many cars were bought, the difference between the car sales in 1990 and 1995, which was a lot, and you could talk about how generally how when you're not if you drive, of course you're not using your body, you're just driving everywhere. Okay, and a wrap-up sentence. So that would be my two paragraphs. Whatever your main points are for this essay, you should write them in separate paragraph using example, evidence, and analysis, and follow this pattern. Okay. All right. Let's go to the final conclusion. Okay, conclusion should have these three things, which is a rewording of the introduction thesis statement. So basically, say what you said in the introduction in a different way. Slightly change the wording, but repeat it. Repeat it. Talk about only what you're talking about. For example, my essay is on people going to restaurants and putting on weight, and people buying cars and not doing exercise. A lot of you in your Olympic ones were bringing in new points in your conclusion, talking about something that wasn't in your body. So don't do that. Only your brief statement of what each paragraph was about, mistake here, oops, was about, is you should talk only what you wrote about. In the final sentence, you can talk about something different, but first you should follow this pattern. Don't bring up a new point, or don't talk about something different. Talk about what you said. It's just giving your reader reviewing and summarizing what you said in your body and what you said in your introduction. Okay, the final sentence, you can say something like a call to action or something you want the reader to do, or you say, if you're interested in this topic, you should research further, or if America doesn't take care, oops, what happened? If America doesn't take care of its obesity problem, it's going to cost billions of dollars for the Americans. Something like that. A final sentence that just talks about something a little different, but related to your topic, but something you can call to action means something you want. You can ask the reader to do something. Why don't you cut down on eating out, and you'll be able to lose weight, and don't buy a car, buy a bicycle, something like that. Okay. All right, that will be it for today. So, I don't know. I won't ask you to write it for next week. You write it, but then in our class next week, we'll have a Zoom meeting next Monday, and I'll ask you what your main points were, and if you understand each part of this template. Okay, so just look over this. If you have to watch this video, this presentation once or twice, just make sure you understand what I'm asking you to do, and then I'll check next week, make sure everybody's on the same page, so to speak, and then we can. Then I'll ask you to write it. I'll give you the word order, how much you should write, and stuff like that. So but write a draft of this template, what you are going to write, and I'll check with you next week. All right. Have a nice day. Enjoy your week, and I'll see you next Monday. Okay, which will be, I think, 30th. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.